Today's video is sponsored by Adventurers Coffee Company. Brian Von VA here. Got a question for D&D players around the world. What was the NAT20 that made your DM facepalm just like this? Ow. Part 3. In the session I'm playing at the moment, we play the Weird West, aka Wild West with Call of Cthulhu mixed in. I played a kind of occult sharpshooter and trickster, and my friends were a drunk gold miner, a Prussian officer, and a former slave turned gunslinger. We just started to unravel the mystery around our little town called Hollow Hope when we had to defend two vital NPCs in the Saloon from getting turned into a zombie buffet. And this fight became just hilarious. I didn't manage to hit something with my rifle the whole fight, but got a critical 100 as I just tried to fire my old pistol, which was not even loaded. First facepalm from my DM, as my old pistol just fired a lightning bolt that vaporized one of the zombies. Our Prussian officer tried to fight with his pistol and almost came instantly down to 1 HP. Oh no. After that, he asked, "I'm a Prussian officer. I should have my officer's sword." Okay, but as you never told us about it before, you have to roll high. He rolls a critical 100. DM sighs and says, "Somehow the Prussian officer draws a sword from his backpack and slices at the zombie with it, which decapitates him." In the next round, the zombies attack again. DM lets them focus the gold miner as he stands in front of our little group. The miner rolls for evasion and gets 3 crits for 3 zombies. So, imagine the scene. Fight in the saloon. My sharpshooter tries to do something and fails most of the time, then turns into a wizard. On the other side, however, our Prussian officer turns the scene into a samurai movie as he continues to slice the zombies into pieces with 1 hit point. And in the midst of all of this, our miner is basically playing Dance Dance Revolution as he continues to not get damage for the whole fight by evading all of the hits. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. We and Adventurers Coffee Company are working together on an awesome giveaway. You'll get 6 bags of Adventurers Coffee Co. coffee and a set of polyhedral dice, an $85 value. Here's how you can get in on the action. Like our Twitter pages and tweet or retweet tagging at MrRipper and at AdventurersCC in your post. Alternatively, any purchase made using code MrRipper will get you 5 entries into the drawing. Good luck, everyone. DM convinced me to put my Lizardfolk barbarian into a one-on-one battle against a legendary crocodile, Thousand Teeth the Devourer, as a trial by ritual combat issued by the Lizardfolk tribe. If I succeeded, I would have the hand of the queen in marriage and the throne as king. DM was all but certain the encounter would be certain death for me. In a previous encounter, we'd fought and killed a T-Rex, and he allowed me to attempt to craft a weapon from the T-Rex's remains. Apparently, I rolled for a powerful bone sword crafted from the T-Rex's jawbone. It was a moonblade, +1 longsword, with another roll to determine an additional property. I rolled for it and the sword got vorpal properties, +3 to attack and damage rolls, ignoring slashing resistance, instant decapitation on a NAT20. Nice. In other words, a very good sword. Back to the croc. Round 1. My pseudo-dragon follower, another story for another time, tried to use its poison stinger. Does a little damage, but no poison. I have rage active and strike hard. I wasn't told how much HP the croc had, only that I inflicted significant damage. The croc has a legendary action, allowing it to strike back instantly with a tail strike. Just barely dodged it. Croc's turn, he bites down hard. My rage-fueled resistance saves me from the worst of the damage. Round 2, I strike, NAT20, dead. Job done. DM was not happy, and that's how my Lizardfolk barbarian became the Lizard King. Best character ever. This is my current D&D group and just happened last week. The party has just joined the local resistance, which is trying to overthrow the country's tyrannical king. The entire party wasn't present this week, so we decided to do some side quests to help our new friends. Me, aka Mogar, a human fighter, and Jonah, a dwarf rogue, were sent into town to shop for supplies. After visiting the blacksmith and killing some thugs and rescuing an orphan, we spot a crowd of people running from something. After waiting a bit, we see an elven druid, another player's new PC, running for his life. He's being chased by a 9-foot-tall, armored thrall wielding a sword and shield. These guys act like the king's royal guard, and we had just barely managed to kill one in an earlier session, our first major boss. Deciding that this person is obviously important, we run in to save him. Mogar manages to grab its attention with a well-placed attack and acts as a distraction. Meanwhile, Jonah escorts the druid back to our base and calls for backup. My fight is going badly. Mogar can't outrun the undead knight, his attacks keep missing, and it's hitting him back like a truck. In a desperate effort to buy time, I sheathe my weapons. I then yell at the thrall, "I have sheathed my weapons. If you have any honor left in you, you will also fight with only your bare fists." Rolled a persuasion check. NAT20. The undead knight stabs its weapons into the ground and raises its fists. Mogar then proceeds to get absolutely pummeled and has his legs torn off. Not the turn I was thinking was going. Luckily, the others had managed to make it back to the resistance base, and our new boss came to save me. He teleported in, grabbed me, plus my legs, then teleported back to the base where the others were playing cards. The others are extremely panicked with my lack of legs and ask our new druid to help me. Mogar then tells him it's fine and that he can't even feel any pain in my legs. The druid tells me to move my legs if I'm apparently fine. I proceeded to grab my legs and wave them around. The players stifle laughs, and we continue. The druid is not amused by this and now asks me to stand up. Roll an acrobatics check, NAT20. I proceed to do a perfect handstand. We then had to take a short break as everyone was laughing too hard. In the end, my legs were safely attached back onto me, and I'm excited for the next session. That made me chuckle. The prince story reminds me of my tiefling sorcerer I currently play. He owns the local tavern and recruits any surviving monsters or bad guy grunts as bar staff. So far, he has recruited 5 goblins, a small legion of kobolds, a human woman who has always been his right hand, 2 Goliaths to serve as bouncers, a few human farmers, an ogre, said ogre's small army of crocodiles, all named Austin, his grumpy phoenix familiar, a marrow with human-level intelligence, his water Gensai apprentice, sorry if I say Gensai wrong, Gensai? And an ancient silver dragon who he married. If that isn't enough of one, then there is this other time where a vampire was losing to our party and used gaseous form to escape. Our cleric tried divine intervention to stop it and failed. This resulted in this gem. Can I use the cleric as a medium to contact his god, musing message, and force him to stop this vampire from escaping us? You know what? Roll for it. But I doubt NAT20. Wait, what? Okay, well, that somehow works, and Heimdall hears the voice of your sorcerer chewing him out. Please roll divine intervention. I wish I could say I succeeded on that divine intervention check, but alas, I did not. Since then, it's been a running gag that my sorcerer can contact clerics' gods and warlocks' patrons through the PCs, but said gods and patrons are so surprised at me pulling this off that they don't respond. It was hilarious to see our cleric getting mad at me for using him as an overglorified phone. This made the whole table groan, and our DM sit in total silence after seeing what we've done to his beautifully crafted campaign. Was playing a campaign in middle school. I had wandered off into a forest looking for monsters. Soon enough, I encounter something. A giant bird. It nearly pecks me to death after rolling crappy rolls. I call out to my party. They find me underneath a giant bird trying to peck my eyes out. The ASMR wizard in our party decides that it's a good idea to use a fire spell. He starts a forest fire. The fire starts growing rapidly. Me having to roll death saves 4 times after getting up and being instantly burned. As we run away from the destruction we've caused, we see hundreds of creatures chasing after us. 1 session later, we find out that the forest was a key part of the story, and the mini-boss that should have been there has been burned to death horribly. 5th edition. DM has a tendency to have us do a choice of skills from a list. Arcane, History, Investigation, Insight, or some other skills, usually by saying roll for X, Y, or Z. Given that there is at least 6 players in any given time, folks tend to roll for whatever skill that they are best with. Most of the time. Me, I tend to have decent rolls, and with no negative modifiers. An 18 is an 18 at the very least. And usually I fill in what needs to be filled in, even if I don't have the proficiency for it. On this day, the DM once again calls for 3 skills. I can't remember what the skills were, but they don't matter given what happened. Makes a sucky roll. Using inspiration. NAT20. Nat, I just got a NAT20. I just got a NAT20. In what? It's a NAT20. I lean back. I'll fill in what needs filled in. Okay, who? And then the guy next to me, I also got a NAT20. We start to chuckle at this, including the DM. All right. Who? Guy with the worst luck ever. I also have a NAT20. We all burst out in laughter. This guy is playing a dwarf who is so unlucky. He has negative modifiers in wisdom, intelligence, and charisma, and also dexterity, but I think that was a beginning dump stat. And he has no beard due to eating raw black dragon meat, the blood of which had reacted like acid and causing massive damage to his lips and throat. And he is afraid of heights, but this was due to a cheater that had played before I joined, along with a lot of other crazy things, and suffers from terrible rolls. Him rolling a 20, we ran into the gods more often than he's rolled a 20. Of course, given that that's the equivalent of a Ragnarok going on, we've run into a bunch of them. It's like they say, even a broke clock is correct twice a day. What? One thing to note, the DM is a veteran, both in terms of D&D, about 20 years of playing, although he's been learning some new things recently due to me, but that's another story. And because he is an ex-Marine and was wounded in action, and as such is stuck on military time. Us civilians have to explain how the same time occurs twice a day, AM and PM. Oh, okay. Anyways, with 3 NAT20s, I guess that covers everything. Here's what you know now. Also, salute to you. My father was a former Marine as well, and I always appreciate the armed forces doing what they do best. 5th edition Homebrew Wild West campaign. The players found a modded version of the Deck of Many Things and drew the card Staff of Beasts. This enrages any creature within a 250-foot radius and makes them charge the staff wielder whenever the staff touches the ground. Time was also going weird at this point, and they had already fought 1 dinosaur. When they get the staff, they throw it onto the ground, summoning a bunch of dinosaurs, but notably 1 Pteranodon. If you say I mispronounced that, I swear to God. The fighter says, I want to jump on the Pteranodon and put my rope in its mouth and fly him around. I mean, you can try that, but it isn't going to NAT20. Now, the fighter has a flying Pteranodon mount that I don't know how to deal with. Big thanks to our sponsor for today, Adventurers Coffee Company. Don't forget to check them out and make sure you use code MrRipper to get a sweet discount on their delicious brews, as well as to enter their giveaway too. That said, if you liked today's video, please leave a big thumbs up and give us a big old subscribe. Follow MrRipper on his Twitter and join his Discord, as well as heading on over to r/MrRipper if you want to submit any of your stories to us. Using a help action, you can always click this big old face in the middle, which is me, Brian Von VA, and give me a big fat subscribe too, as I'm always happy to introduce you guys and gals into the world of voice acting and entertainment in general. All the love, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. Please be safe out there, be happy, and keep on keeping on. The world is chaotic, but we're all in it together, don't you worry. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.